I've always been the quiet kid in class, the kind never to speak up or to go out of my way to participate, but the type to blend in and fade into the background. The type of person to only speak when spoken to, and even then, I never seemed to say what I truly meant. I've spent the majority of my life like this, alone and in between. It's not that sad, it's just the life that I live, the card that I have been dealt. I grew up watching tons of superhero movies, and I always wish that I can be just as mighty and as outgoing as those that inhabited my TV screen. But instead I grew up more like protagonist Tomoko of the anime Watamote, or also known as no matter how I look at it, it's you guys' fault I'm not popular. Watamote is anything but your high-octane, outrageous, or superhero anime. Rather, it's a deep look at the life of a lonely and unsocial teenage girl. The comedy and art style that the anime employs are just mere set pieces to deliver a wealth of relatable situations that Tomoko finds herself in. It forces people like us, the misfits of society, to look into the mirror and realize how truly lonely we are. I found the most heartbreaking moment of the show to be in episode 10, where Tomoko goes to great lengths to eat by herself in a dusty and abandoned stairwell. Just like Tomoko, I went through the same thing in middle school and high school, escaping people and friends just to sit all alone, and yet free of any kind of social pressure and anxiety. It was lonely, yes, but there was just something comforting and tranquil about the silence and the darkness. From trying to be that cool, mysterious kid in class to dumping way too many hours in the virtual world, or just being disgusted with the side of myself in the mirror, Tomoko and I share a similar resume of social ineptitude. And just like Tomoko, I'm a daydreamer, always hoping, always believing that my time in the spotlight is just over the horizon. I mean, why wouldn't it be? After all these years of suffering and sorrow, why wouldn't we get our 15 minutes of fame? But no, you see, the thing is that it never comes, because from these highs, we must come crashing down and forced to accept the cold hard truth that we are alone. And this isolation isn't necessarily by force, it's by choice. The choice to eat alone, the choice not to speak up, it's all ours, mine, and Tomoko's. But with choice comes the opportunity to act upon it. Much like Tomoko's journey into high school, I'll be going off to college very soon. In the same fashion that she prays and hopes to break out of her social anxiety and make her dreams become a living reality, I too want to break free of my shyness and passivity. 3.5 hours, or 190 miles from home, I'll be away from everything and everyone that I've ever known. It's scary and cold to think about, but I have nothing more than to accept this reality, that while I can work on becoming better like Tomoko did, life doesn't change all at once or in the way that we want it to. We can make gradual steps to become better, but sometimes there's just something greater to learn. The last episode of the anime is evidence of this fact. Tomoko finds herself aspiring to be more like a certain upper-class student. In seeking guidance and wisdom, Tomoko decides that it would be best to talk to her. We as a viewer expect for Tomoko to finally work up the courage and stature to finally socialize as per natural storytelling convention. In most stories, the protagonist is confronted by a challenge, and in the end, they triumph despite all odds. But instead, Tomoko runs away, just at the cusp of conversation. She runs and flees with all her might, all the way home, her bed, her sanctuary, because in that moment, she arrived at the conclusion that the need to be popular and loved by others was just a trivial wish. Going so far as to laugh at herself, because for the first time ever, she was in love. Not with what she could be, but more so with what she already was. A misfit. Being alone and in between can be truly depressing, but it's the silence that forces us to look inside, to venture into the deepest, darkest parts of our hearts and discover who we truly are. It's not about the thirst for social acceptance, it's first and foremost the requirement to love thyself, faults, sins, and all. and from pain and sorrow can true bliss be forged. Perhaps I won't make many new friends at college. Perhaps I never evolve past this state. Doesn't matter, it's trivial, because the sound of loneliness makes me happier.
The end of